Hi, Karanja.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It is now 9 a.m. We would like to get this inaugural conference of the Association of Professional Broadcasters of Kenya started. My name is Paul Oyier. I'm sitting in for Christine Nguku, who's unable to join us today. She's feeling a bit under the weather. And no, she's not in isolation. She's just at home recuperating after a very, very demanding schedule on Christine. We are very fond of her here, and we're wishing her a very quick recovery. But she's joining us. She's probably going to be following the proceedings from home, and maybe she'll be able to say a few words later on. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said, my name is Paul Oyier. I am the Corporate Affairs Manager at the Media Council of Kenya. The Media Council of Kenya is supporting this event, which we believe is a very important event for the media sector in this country. To start us off in our program, I'm going to ask Ms. Lydia Wang'oma to give us the opening prayer.
Yes.
Ms. Wang'oma.
Thank you. Can you all hear me? Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, I can hear you, Lydia.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Morning, Lydia.
Okay, let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Dear God,
Amen.
we thank you for the gift of life that you have granted us to see this day. We have converged this morning virtually due to obvious reasons, and that is why we pray.
Hi guys, I hope you're ready, everybody. We guys are going to do a bit of backroom, so basically most of the time, we'll be off. So people are praying.
Please go ahead, Ms. Wang'oma.
Okay, thank you. Dear God, we have converged virtually due to obvious reasons, and that is why we pray that by your grace, mercy, and protection, we shall soon physically and in good health. Heavenly Father, APB is a baby born yesterday, and as such needs to be nursed, nurtured, guided, molded, and fortified by us members, our able mentors, benefactors, and friends. We pray for our brothers and sisters who may not have joined us today due to financial constraints or otherwise, that you may come through for them, so that together we can stand and walk as a strong foundation and indeed the fountain of broadcast excellence and legacy, so as to achieve the mission that we have set. And that would be for our good and that of future broadcast generations. We look up to you for the ultimate wisdom, progressive minds, tolerance, humility, understanding, optimism that will steer APB to greater heights in the society. May the words of our mouths and the silent meditation of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God. For it is in the mighty name of Jesus Christ that we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen.
And of the Son,
Amen.
and of the Spirit.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wang'oma. As we move into this meeting, a little etiquette for us here. I'd like to request all of us to kindly mute our microphones. It'll be very difficult to hear our speakers if everybody is unmuted. And to be able to speak, please kindly raise your hand and we will acknowledge you and give you a chance to speak as soon as it is possible to do so, so that we have some kind of order and we move this meeting in a progressive and constructive fashion. So please do remember to keep your microphones on mute. Mr. Obachi, I see your hand, and I will give an opportunity to speak because you're actually coming up next. I hope that's in order. You'll be able to make your comments then. We have now, I'm going to be introducing our next section where we're going to have a few of our veteran broadcasters give a few remarks before we get into the official program under the chairmanship of your interim chairperson, Ms. Tabitha Mutemi. So at this point, allow me to introduce someone who does not need much introduction, Mr. Fred Obachi Machoka, the host of the Roga show. I hope I said it right, Fred. And just to give you some kind of a background of what Fred has done. Fred has been a radio presenter and producer for over 20 years in commercial radio and television. And among them, set up Sanyu Ju, Sanyu Tops, Ever Ready Paka Power, and Ugua Pole na Lukozed. My goodness, Lukozed. Wow, that takes us back. And Music Time show on KBC and Talk of Town on KTN. He is currently with the Royal Media Services presenting the Roga or on Citizen Radio and TV. He's also the director of Fred's Ranch and Resort. Mr. Machoka, you have the floor.
I'm glad to be able to talk to my colleagues and other stakeholders in APB, and I also welcome their supporters and if it is okay to say, would-be sponsors. As you have rightly said, I have been in the media for a reasonably good time, and I'm glad that during this period we have been able to make a small difference in the industry. My concern in the industry is that with the liberalization of the airwaves, we seem to be losing track of what radio or television was meant to be. And that is, in my opinion. I would think that the person who invented radio or television had the intention of having family gather together and enjoy the programming, because the essence of broadcasting, I think, is about information, education, and also entertainment. Those are the three pillars of broadcasting, as I was taught. But entertainment cannot be individual in nature. It shouldn't be something that keeps away members of a family, for example. These days, when you switch on to radio or television, you have to be extremely careful, especially if you are with members of your family together listening. You have to be careful not to be embarrassed. You have to be careful not to be insulted. You have to be you are nervous, you know. It's like you do not understand exactly, or you don't know what to expect to hear on radio. It doesn't matter whether it is education that you are getting. It doesn't matter whether it's entertainment you are getting. It doesn't matter whether it is information, whether it is news you are listening to. Chances are some stuff is likely to come out that may embarrass you. The anchor or the support staff, the support staff in the sense of the people who are supporting the anchor, it could be reporters, are likely to come up with an item that you feel uncomfortable watching or listening to with your family members. And I think this is the direction that as APB, we may want to address or find a way of addressing so that we don't lose the essence of broadcasting. I do hope that as we move on, we will find it in our forte, in our brief, something that can be able to address that. I know that the liberalization of airwaves also brought in competition. And in bringing in competition to media, they probably wanted variety. And variety is a good thing in anything, in food, in fashion, in entertainment, in any market. When a consumer has variety, then you feel like the choices you make are good. But I get concerned because when it comes to radio specifically, I want to leave television out for a while. When the consumers of radio do not sometimes have a choice. If I'm in a matatu with my children and my grandchildren and my daughter-in-law, my son and my son-in-law, my wife, and we are traveling, the person in charge of me listening to that radio is not me. I can't switch off a program because it is the driver or the conductor who is controlling the dial. So I am a victim. I listen to stuff that probably I don't want to listen to. But if I am I'm in my house, Marvin, go back, please. I'm in a meeting. If I am in my house, like I am now, if I am in my car, then I control the dial. In which case, if what I'm listening to is not palatable, I am ready to just switch it off. But if I am not in such situation, then it becomes extremely difficult for me. I have to take whatever comes. And that is where I think people suffer. And the owners, the people in charge of that microphone, are the people now that we need to educate, to understand that there are circumstances that your consumer is enslaved. What do you do? If you're a comedian, you may find it nice and funny to talk about stuff that is embarrassing because, after all, it's comedy. But it may not be comedy to the receiver of the stuff. So mine is to say that if APB can find space and it works to address that issue, I'll be a very happy person. The second thing to save on time is that in the industry, we have people who have been in this industry, as you know, who were earning very little income. And now others are retired. Others probably got ill and had to step out of the industry. These people are living in squalor. They are living in very desperate situations. If APB and its other stakeholders can find space to address their plight, it is something that, again, would be, in my opinion, something that will make me happy, and I'm sure it will make other people happy. These are people that may not come out clearly and say they are in a tough situation, but as an organization, I think we need to find space to address that. So that is all I can say because my 5 minutes is up. I am excited about APB. We got professionals in the industry in various, departments, in various, can I say, faculties. We got engineers, we got radio presenters, we got producers, we got directors, and many other people, very, very well experienced. Some of them taught me taught me the ropes. Others are people that I've been able to impact upon. So all those people, I think once we get together, we will be able to make APB something that we can all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Obacci, for those sentiments. In fact, if I hear you correctly, you've spoken about your concerns about the content that is on media today, broadcast media today, and the fact that you believe that content should not be there to separate families, if you like. Secondly, that this organization should look into the welfare of what we may call broadcast veterans and see how best to support each other beyond the screen or the microphone, if you like. And finally, to ensure that we use this as a platform to network, to make each other and the industry better. I think there's no better way to put it from a veteran such as yourself. We thank you for your sentiments, and I'm certain that your chairperson is listening very keenly to this. Next up, we have all the way from Rochester in the United Kingdom, Ms. Mariam Omar, who's the output editor of BBC Swahili. She informed us earlier on that she had to wake up very early because she's on British summertime. And I was telling her that very rarely do you find people looking that well put together that early in the morning here. So, Mariam, we welcome you to this audience here in Kenya, but I think there are people tuning in from around the world. Please, you have your 5 minutes to give us your remarks. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm so honored to be here and actually be put in a line with veterans such as Machoka and many more. I feel I don't deserve, but the fact that I'm here, I think I'll take my time and explain to you guys why I think it's important for APB to work directly in terms of uplifting our media, especially our mainstream media. APB has a mixture of a lot of talent. I'm talking about veterans who I was looking up to, I was listening to, veterans who my parents were listening to and looking up to, and people who looked up to me as well, and the ones who actually I look up to at the moment because of the good work they're doing. In our days, we used to get so uplifted when we see our news personalities doing their thing, and we wouldn't even think of their lives, like outside the broadcasting house. It was all about the content and all about the delivery. But things are changing, and I'd say social media has played a big part in this. Things are changing in that the content is no longer important. What is important now is the lifestyle of these people we are watching or these people who we are listening to. All our ethics are being eroded, and slowly but surely we might find ourselves outside the box doing what Machoka was saying. You can't even be with your family to watch something which will be decent. So I'm thinking ABP with the vast expertise and skills from our veterans can play a big part in making sure that we are back to our roots, in that people tend to give the audience what they need. and it's all about the content, not about self-branding. Because the social media has created a space whereby news personality will be thinking of their own self-branding rather than the content. And you'll find when, for example, somebody moves from a media house and goes out, they go with the audience. And the audience are not going with them because they give them good content. It's because of their lifestyle and they want to know more about that. I think we can reverse that. And I'm not saying it's bad for somebody to brand their names. It's not bad, it's good. But then what about the content? The content made our veterans respected. They had authority. Do we have that now? And how can we bring it back? And another thing which we must not forget is the freedom which social media has created, in that we have quite a number of fake stories. And these stories, because of the lifestyle we have, somehow infiltrate in our mainstream media. And this is because people are relaxed. They're not looking at what we used to do before. You used to get your 3 sources to confirm a story. At the moment, even the 3 sources, we are not even sure of if they're telling us what's true or what's fake, because people will sit at their desks and what they'll do, they'll try and just look at the Twitter or Facebook or whatever and just copy and paste what they've seen there, because they believe, we need to be fast. We need to show this fast before anybody else. The accuracy has been put aside. So I think with our veterans who was killed, who were very, very committed in giving people what people needed to see and to watch, can bring back the ethics. I'm not saying the ethics are not there, but what I'm saying is it's eroding, and we can see it eroding. And unfortunately, the people with fake news, they know they can do that and nobody's going to take them anywhere, and for how long can this continue happening? So I think the best thing for us, with our supporters, MCK and FCKB, we can work together and make sure this old generation who actually still have the energy to come and teach us have something to do. As Machoka said, most of them are not living they don't have a good life at the moment, but they're still healthy. They can come and work, they can come and mentor us, and they can come and bring back what we had. So I think if you guys give us that support, we will be able to give the fountain of broadcast excellence and leave a legacy. And with that, I think I've done my 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mariam. I am definitely in the company of broadcasters. You're all keeping such good time. I wonder, definitely it's like you're going on air and off air. But to recap what you've been telling us, Mariam, and I think it's very important from where you sit at the BBC, you're reminding us of the uplifting role that broadcasters and media personalities played a generation ago, in the sense that there was a greater focus on the content of what they delivered, and which gave them authority and the trust of their audiences, vis-a-vis what you believe is happening now, where it is the lifestyle off the screen or outside broadcasting house, so to speak, that is driving broadcast content, if you like, and you're calling for a concerted effort to bring people back to the accuracy, to the fairness, to the authority of news and proper news practice or media practice, in terms of even verifying sources and ensuring that what we're giving our audiences, as Fred said earlier on, it's education, entertainment and information, but that information is real information that can be trusted. And finally, you also, in a different angle, spoken about what Fred was saying in a different angle, in the sense of saying that we could use our veterans to plow back into the industry. And I think the question there is there an expiry date for people to be on air? Because the example from the West is very different. We still have Christiana Manpur, who is older than most of us here and doing a fantastic job. Why is it different in Kenya? So perhaps those are some of the discussions that I believe this association will be looking into. So thank you so much, Mariam. We hope that you'll be staying with us through this. And finally, I don't know if he's here. I've never met him in person. I've heard great stories about him, but he is a presenter from The Voice of Kenya in the 1970s, Mr. Abdul Haq, and he's the founder of the MTM Awards. And I understand that he had a famous phrase then, which was, do you know where your children are? Abdul Haq, you have the floor if you're here.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning. First and foremost, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to join colleagues and to see new faces like yourselves at the Media Council and the Classification Board. And lovely talk from Fred, the blackest man in Black Africa, and Mariam Omar, our award winner 2019 for her work in BBC. Yes, like you said, do you know where your children are? That's a very important statement, because if we start at home early, that child, when that child gets out to the world is very wild. If that child gets out to the world, that discipline that you have instilled in that person will carry on and never stop. And when he starts a family, he will carry on the same discipline. Let's get down to the subject that I would like to tackle. The problem I personally feel, though I'm set out of the country for some time now, I think is the licensing. I come to understand, and checking on is it Communication Authority of Kenya? Yeah, if I got it right. You have about 195 or 197 stations licensed in Kenya. And I sit back and I ask myself, yes, it's good to open up the waves. It's good to indulge more organizations. It's good to give opportunities to the many that are now coming out of many other universities and colleges besides the Institute of Mass Communication. But when you have about 200 of those, is the authority really keeping an eye on the output? Is the authority really scrutinizing these applications before granting them? Are they politically connected? Or is it, I know you, you know me, I will get a license, I have no experience in radio and television, but I will go there and yap. That's what radio is about today. And I'll start a radio network. Due to that mushrooming of licenses, we have lost content. We have lost the broadcasting ethics, the broadcasting code, like Fred said, to educate, to inform, and to entertain. Right now, it's not about education, it's not about information, and that's not only in Kenya, in many other countries. It's not about information, it's not about education, it's not about entertainment, it's about personality. It's about the crush that I will be the best. When you go on air as a TV anchor or a TV presenter or a weather presenter, you're not decently dressed. So are we looking at your presentation or are we looking at your physical self? So as long as the authority does not license and monitor these so many stations that are running, that I'm surprised. It's wrong. Media Council should know this better than I do. Do they have decent program schedules? Do they really have editorial board meetings. If they do have board meetings in the mornings, as we traditionally know, and I know big stations like Citizen and Nation must be having that because they have adopted their ways, though they've modified it away from KBC and VOK. They do that. Now, as long as we don't have that, the content is going to be very harmful. And it's taking roots. It's taking roots. In the next 5 years, it will be beyond control. Elections are coming in 2022. The airwaves are free. How do you control the airwaves? That people can report decently, with honor and with dignity, without sending out fake news, without sending out alarms, without being there that somebody has paid and this is what he wants or she wants to come on air, let's do it. So to me, in brief, if APB, which I'm glad it's been formed, is the first of its kind. I'm very happy it's been formed. It's the first of its kind. A glass of water, please. It's very early for me. I was shocked at night. I thought it was 9 a.m. UK time, only at 10 o'clock to be told it is 7 a.m. UK time. So it's an early start, but we have to do it and we have to do it. So APB can do a lot. APB can communicate. APB can work hand in hand with organizations like yourself, and we can at least have a say in streamlining the licensing. We can't have a say who gets the license or who doesn't, but we can advise and streamline. And everybody has talked about our colleagues living in poverty. They're not living in poverty. They are living in abject poverty. It's time we need to look at them. Thank you so much. I guess my time is up, and I'm glad I've met so many of you that for years we have not communicated. Thank you. I love you all. Do you know where your children are?
What a way to end that one. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdul Haq. You've you've spoken very passionately about the licensing procedures and modalities that are undertaken and the criteria that is used to license broadcast outlets. And specifically because you feel very strongly that the ethics, and this is something that's been running through from what Mariam and also Fred have been saying, the ethics is lost. It's more about personalities and their dressing, if you like, and not the content and the substance of what they're bringing, which is of greater value to our audiences, especially in entertaining, educating, and informing them. And you've also made a plea, and this is the third time, you know, in the holy books, when something is repeated 3 times, it means pay attention. That colleagues are living in abject poverty. What can be done? That seems like a very urgent matter. And I hope that we'll find solutions here for that. With your permission, Madam Chair, at this point, as I had said earlier on, I am standing in for Christine Guku, who's not well and not able to moderate this session, but I know she's on the call, and I've not told her this, but I would like her perhaps to just say 1 or 2 words, because she's been really putting this event together with APB. So Christine, you don't have to put on your camera, but if you can say 1 or 2 words to these veterans who I think you're in very good company with, and who are your contemporaries. I am more like a younger brother in this. Christine, if you can, Mrs. Nguku, please do say a few words. Christine? Okay. I think she must be indisposed, but if she does come on, we'll bring her on later on. Moving on forward, it gives me great pleasure to welcome your chairperson, the lady who's been behind putting this together. I like to refer to her, even though she does not know this, as one of the forces of nature, a very determined person, a very committed person, and one who gets things done. She's also a council member here at the Media Council of Kenya, so she is one of my bosses, and she's also in charge of communications at the Independent and Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Kenya. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome your chairperson, Ms. Tabitha Mutemi, to make her opening remarks. Ms. Mutemi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Paul Oyier and all the members. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
It gives me a lot of joy to welcome all of you to the inaugural workshop of the Association of Professional Broadcasters, better known as APB. We had actually hoped that we will have this event immediately after our launch. However, due to the ongoing pandemic, we may opt to do a virtual launch. And for this far that we have come as APB, we really want to thank God this far. APB, let me say, is an idea that stemmed from a WhatsApp group of veteran broadcasters who often talk about their days in the broadcast industry. A small group of colleagues who later on became very good friends. We share our learnings, our challenges, our opportunities. This opened up for us an opportunity to come up with APB because of the experience that we've had over the years as colleagues and majorly in the broadcasting house. We'll talk about changes we have seen in our stories, the stories that are told today. We make comparisons in the technology that we used to use. Some of us used to use UHA and other traditional instruments. And so we share experiences, the far we have come or the evolution of broadcast and how we used to do presentation. And it's beautiful to see how the industry has really transformed. As we all know, stories is a great legacy that you leave to your colleagues. We tell stories of many years ago. We were told stories by our parents. So as broadcasters, we want to continue telling these stories so that we can continuously improve the broadcast industry. As veterans in this field, we felt that it was time to establish our own association as broadcasters, a place that everyone in this industry can call home, from those who produce and present news or programs, as well as the entire broadcast crew. When we have a broadcast, we have an entire crew. So APB offers a home for the entire broadcast crew. APB members, which I'm very proud of, running to about 100 registered members, given that APB was established a few months ago. I think we got registered in May. We are now about 100 members running. We are very passionate about broadcast excellence and leaving a great legacy in broadcasting. We have a lot of objectives, about 16 objectives, but some of the key things that drive APB, number one, which has been alluded by my colleagues, Fred, Mamu, we call her Mamu, Mariam, and Big Q, is mentorship for upcoming broadcasters. APB prides itself of having members that are both locally and globally based. We have big names that still dominate the local and foreign airwaves, and with many other members in the corporate world, including foreign missions, are members of APB. With this pool of expertise, we hope, or we are planning to develop a holistic mentorship strategy that will not only look at the aspects of broadcast content, but also how to manage media stardom. Broadcast content is very important, but we have our own experiences where broadcasters have been affected because of how they manage stardom. People fall from grace to grass. And that is something that APB is passionate about mentoring the upcoming broadcasters. I remember those days when we were in KBC, broadcasters would probably get into a bar and then unapewa sanduku ya pombe, unakanyanga. And this would really affect, professionalism. Today, we see that kind of stardom probably affected negatively by the social media, and this is something that we are very passionate about mentoring, how to manage stardom. APB is very passionate also about coming up with a strategy to honor veteran broadcasters and broadcast journalists for their services by including them into Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Today, we remember a lot of programs that happened, like some of our veteran members who produce programs like Sanyo Ju, Sanyo Tops by Fred, Yours for the Asking by BQ. We had Ties That Bind that I produced. We have Sundowner. We would want to know who started Sundowner, which is still popular today. There were many programs like Vitimbi. There were many other programs like Tushauriane, Vioja Mahakamani, Late Date, quite a number of programs. Today, people can remember some of the actors in those programs, but do we remember the heroes and sheroes behind those productions? So that is one thing that APB is very passionate about, to come up with a Hall of Fame for our broadcasters. We believe that those veteran broadcasters are part of broadcast excellence, and this will translate to broadcast legacy for broadcast prosperity. Another thing that APB is passionate about is the welfare of the Kenyan broadcasters. It is at the heart of APB, and this is something that has been alluded by the earlier veteran speakers. APB will go out of its way to source for seed money to start a medical and benevolent fund for its upcoming and veteran broadcasters. Whether a broadcaster is in active service or not in service, for whatever reason, APB offers that home for that broadcast journalist. The entire broadcast crew, as I alluded earlier, from technicians to producers to directors to anchors, all have a home in APB. And we are also going to come up with opportunities together with other stakeholders that we intend to collaborate with to create opportunities for our members to be able to continuously generate income so that our members do not continue struggling, as alluded by our earlier speakers, especially when they exit from active service. So we look forward to partnering with various stakeholders to establish branches across the country so that we reach out to as many broadcasters as possible, wherever they are, for purposes of effectively meeting our aspirations and obligations as spelled out in our objectives. It is our hope and prayer that we will live to our vision to contribute to the improvement of broadcast professionalism and to contribute to take broadcasting to a level we could only imagine. So help us God, and long live APB. And just before I wind up, I want to appreciate all the office bearers of APB. We have a very able team. We have Thomas Gesora. We have, who is the vice chairperson. We have Topi Liambila, who is our honorable secretary. We have Zipporah Simani, who is our treasurer. We have Topista Nabsoba, who is our assistant secretary. And we have Fred Obachi, Machoka, who is in charge of programs and also the events and also the veteran committee. We also have committee members, Mariam, Omar, and many others, Dr. Christopher Hissa. We have Badi Musin, we have Adija Ali, we have quite a number, Lydia Wang'oma, we have Catherine Donye, and many others. Please feel appreciated, and we look forward to working together and making this APB an association of your choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Madam Chair, for your remarks. Indeed, your emphasis on mentorship for those who are in the media currently, not just in terms of their professional standards, but also in terms of managing themselves as professionals and in the public light is very commendable. You've spoken about having a Hall of Fame for broadcasters and a medical and benevolent fund for those who are practicing and those who have already retired. You've made it very clear that APB is a home not just to those people on the screen, but also those working behind the screen in the broadcast sector. You've also spoken about creating income-generating projects or advising veterans on how to generate multiple sources of income so that they are not left at the whims of perhaps even their employers or whatever else it may be. And finally, you've reiterated the fact that because it is an association of professional broadcasters, that professional standards are absolutely paramount and that you'll be looking to help all other players in that sector to improve standards. What a vision. And we really, as you said, with God's help, we shall get there. I've just been informed that Christine is now available, and because our next speaker is the CEO of the Media Council of Kenya, who himself has run a network of radios, I feel that because I'm standing in for Christine, that it's only befitting, because she's done so much work on this, that she welcomes our CEO by giving just a few remarks. Mrs. Nguku, you now have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm hoping that people can hear me. I have come down with a cold, and I'd gone, stepped away just a second to go and take care of a running nose, a really running nose. It gives me a lot of pleasure. I actually don't want to show my face right now because I think I look drowsy because I'm on medication. It gives me a lot of pleasure and so much joy to see all of you in this Association of Professional Broadcasters. It's one of those associations that I feel so proud of because I believe I am eligible to become a member. And being one of the people that were groomed by people who are sitting in this association, as I was growing up in my first years in journalism, in TV, and throughout actually my life in active television and radio. It's so much nice to see you guys on the Association of Professional Broadcasting and Broadcasters, and to actually meet with all of you at a conference. I am very excited when I listen to some of the vision and some of the activities that you want to get into. It is so enlightening, and it is also very uplifting to see that there is a place that us as broadcasters, we can go in terms of even just developing our after active career life, and also grooming those who are in the industry right now and showing them, if you like, the ropes and how to manage themselves and how to manage their stardom and how to deliver in a professional way. I'm very excited to know that we as professional broadcasters have thought about this young generation and are actually getting out to go and do something instead of sitting back and, pointing at the gaps and not doing anything about it. It is a really encouraging endeavor. It is also a commendable step that has been taken by all of you. And I must say that it's a big task. In today's world, we are in a digital era. We are at a time when professional broadcasting requires you to be really on the spot, on top of everything, to be very spot on, to be very instant, because the demand is very high from audiences. Again, the demand is very high from other professionals who are on the job. They need help, they need more mentoring, they need coaching, and they need even career direction as the media is changing. I know one last thing that I can say, during our days, we learned how to use computers when we had already been in the newsroom for many years. But today they come in knowing how to use this kind of tools. But further than that, it also is a time when they have multiple platforms. When you are in TV during the older days, you are in TV. You were not in radio. You basically operated in one medium. But now they are operating not just in one medium, they are operating on multiple platforms. There is TV, there's radio, there's Facebook, there is Instagram, there's all these other different platforms that are on the internet where the broadcasters are actually expected to have a presence, but not only to have a presence, but also to deliver quality content, to deliver professionally. And all that requires a lot of skills. It requires a lot of adjusting and learning how to do the job very, very fast. So I think this is an opportunity for professional broadcasters in the association to actually pick up the hands of those younger ones who are coming to endeavor to excel in delivering regardless of the platform they are on. And at this time, it gives me a lot of pleasure to invite our CEO, my boss, Mr. David Omwoyo. He is very passionate about building institutions that enhance professionalism in the media. And I know, looking at his engagement and his interest in the Association of Professional Broadcasters, there is a place that we can all go. And I know he is going to be a great support to the association. And I want to just give him a chance and an opportunity to take the floor and make remarks on the digital platform that broadcasters are operating on. There are challenges and there are great opportunities. Mr. Omwoyo, welcome.
Thank you very much, Christian. Thank you, everyone. Your off days are extended indefinitely. Tafadhali, get well soon. Don't come to the office. The officials of APB, the seniors in the profession, my colleague Dr. Ezekiel, and everyone, good morning. It gives me, and in fact the Media Council, a very great pleasure to be part of this inaugural APB conference and meeting, noting that we have engaged a little more over the past few months, myself and my team, trying to piece this together. And specifically that we put a lot of interest in this because it strikes at the very heart of what we are trying to do. Those who follow a little of what the Media Council does is that at the end of 2018, we gathered veterans, journalist veterans in Naivasha for 3 days. A few members are here, many were perhaps from the print. And it was simply to try to tap into their fountains of knowledge and wisdom and advise us how we can help us steer the industry forward. Speakers before me, like Mr. Big Q spoke, is that we just have perhaps too many voices, perhaps too many outlets, and they lack inspiration and professionalism. That means that the voice and wisdom of the seniors will be important. After we came from Naivasha, you remember that the Media Council formed the Media Associations and Support Groups Committee, very famously called the Mutegi Committee, whose work was to travel around the country, listen to journalists and professionals and other stakeholders, and look at what the different associations of media and journalists are doing to their members. So then they would compile a list of members, of a list of associations and support groups, which then go into our database of people we continuously support non-stop. I'm glad to speak that over the past 3 months, the Media Council of Kenya's support provided financial support to 34 journalism and media associations, APB being one of them. The support ranged anything from 50,000 to 1 million shillings. We were basically trying to facilitate member associations to be in touch with their members, because now that we cannot meet, allow them to be able to come together through virtual forums, find out what they are doing, and from that then find out what can be done to help them keep moving. In addition to that, we provided funding support to 325 journalists, largely from community media, to do stories covering health and all that. But the critical point is that after we did that, then we deployed 25 mentors and advisors, senior journalists in the industry, to accompany the young journalists across different parts of the country, so that these young journalists who received funding from the council then can get support to do good stories. The whole idea was that we get to utilize the wisdom that is in the heads and the souls of you great professionals, so that the young people can come up and be good professionals. I will not repeat myself what you seniors have spoken about, the quality of content we see today in our broadcast outlets, and how that quality has disappeared and been eroded over time until we are left with not very good stuff. But I will assure you that as we did, because we utilized a few of your members the past 2 months to do very good work. I have also had a chance to travel around a bit with a few seniors like William Mwangi and a few guys to talk to other radio journalists, that we intend to utilize you association more. In addition to the support we provided to allow you come up with the statutes and the setting up, I would like to stress 3 or 4 broad points that will be our parting shot, because critically from us as the Media Council, being on one side the referee, on another side the supporter, we like to really set the ball rolling and assure you of what we will do moving forward. I would like to start by stressing to the members of APB, number 1, congratulations, and for setting up an association whose time has really come. I will ask that, and the spirit I've had, that the role of professional groups and associations is solidarity and help your members utilize their full potential. I urge you, please, you are the seniors and the moral compass, to protect the integrity of this group, shield it and insulate it from being hijacked, so that it never becomes a vehicle of personal ambition. Most important, take care of the welfare of your members. I'm deeply, deeply touched to hear that you're interested about the welfare, medical cover, and the welfare of the members. I assure you that we will be part of you in many, many, many more ways than one. The purpose of support groups like APB is to provide peer review and guidance. Now that it fits into the Media Council strategy to deploy mentors to our 150 community radios who are members of ours, we will be dealing with the office holders, especially the Director of Programs, Fred Obacci. I will come down for chicken. I will not pay, because we'll be discussing business, so that we are able to utilize members where they are. If we have a person in Kilifi, and I have 3 radio stations in Kilifi, we should be able to utilize that senior down there to talk to our upcoming journalists there. If you have someone based in Nyeri, like our Mzee Wakazi William Mwangi, we don't need to drag him to Nairobi or to Kisumu. We need to utilize him where he is to do work where he is, so that he can accompany the young broadcasters there. If you have people down in Kisumu or wherever, you're going to work out and be able to utilize their skills and deploy them, so that they work and be able to get some money to take care of themselves and their loved ones in these days. Want to make two other promises. I want to keep an alert that MCK, we are not political, so we have no political ambitions. We will try to make very basic promises what we can make. We promise that we will accompany APB to work out your strategic plan, especially identifying your core areas of operations over the next few weeks, probably, so that you can do a good strategic plan, do a needs analysis, move out, recruit members. So we will support that. I will be expecting to hear from your team a first proposal which you can work with. In addition, we will support you do recruitments and around regional offices. For information, the Media Council of Kenya is opening 4 regional offices in Mombasa, Kisumu, Meru, and Nakuru. We will allow APB to utilize our space and our secretariat to be able to recruit members. If you want to do chapters or you want to do categories of the veterans or the active members and all that, we assure you that we will be able to do that. Finally, is that we will try, and I need to add, about half of you are already accredited by the Media Council. I will urge that all the rest, find out, you will get the details through the office holders how to get the Media Council accreditation as a media professional. That way, it allows us to deploy you immediately. We hear and we have a story in Wang'oma, and we know we have Senior Igara Kibaji or anywhere down there. We do not need to go any process. We simply get a call from ourselves and we are deployed to assist journalists there who do something right away. So I urge that all of you, the office, they know what to do, will help you get accreditation of the Media Council. Being accredited by the Media Council is also includes strategic pre-qualification. We can deploy you to do work for us in a media house or accompany a journalist at short notice without getting into the procurement problem. So I urge all you members, I urge the office holders to ensure that all members get accredited. That way we'll be able to utilize you from time to time, because we are rolling out another story writing grant for journalists and mentorship in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we will need your skills all the time. I will urge that you bring on board your colleagues and make sure that all this works well. I urge the office holders to really stress the welfare of members and personal development. The Association of Broadcasters in the US is one very big association. And I am sure that this APB is going to be a big vehicle through which we are going to reach out to many parts of the country, mentor and utilize all the major brains and the young people that we have, that they can have people to look up to, and ensure that we have a vibrant and professional media industry that has the core values of the nation and the African traditions at heart. Asanteni sana, I wish you all the best. I will remain in the background for anything, but most important is that I look forward to a lot of collaboration through the secretariat as we have done in the past few days. Asanteni sana. Fred Obacci, sijui kama ameenda wapi, ajue tutapitia pale kwa buzi ama kuku baadaye. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omwoyo, for your remarks and for setting out a vision of how the Media Council will be working hand in hand with the APB to ensure that they receive the kind of support that they require. You've spoken about reestablishing the moral, that the veterans are the moral compass for the industry, and that is something that needs to be taken up. And secondly, that we need to look into their welfare. And finally, that this is a platform for peer review and building and guidance, and that the Media Council will work closely with you to support you in that regard, and is also urging APB members to take up the accreditation under the Media Council of Kenya as a way to also plugging back into mentoring the current generation of broadcasters. I am under direction from your chairperson that she would like to take the floor now to do another onerous task. So I will now yield the floor to Madam Mutemi. Please, you have the floor, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Paul Oyier. Our treasurer will actually move a vote of thanks. I just want to take this opportunity to now welcome Dr. Ezekiel Mutua as our chief guest. He's the CEO of the Kenya Film Classification Board, whom we consider as a seasoned broadcast veteran. He previously agreed to engage with the office bearers at a very short notice. And he not only gave us his wise words, he guided us, he advised us. He also gave us a personal donation of a significant amount. And he promised that the two entities, APB and KFCB, will collaborate for the greater good of broadcasters. So let me humbly invite Dr. Ezekiel Mutua to speak to his colleagues. Karibu, Daktari.
Thank you very much, Tabitha, and to all the members of the APB, my brother David Omwoyo, and everyone, to our colleagues who are in the UK. Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me to this important forum, the inaugural conference for the Association of Professional Broadcasters. I am very delighted to join you, and on my own behalf and on behalf of Kenya Film Classification Board, I want to congratulate the APB for finding this organization. Thank you, Tabitha, and your team for the robustness with which you have started, and for the great vision that you have to impact broadcasting in this country and in the region. I think one cannot talk about journalism today without taking a memory, a journey down memory lane to reflect on the good old days when you guys graced our screens with voice and with poise and with dignity. And we watched TV and listened to radio as an authority. We watch TV not just to look at the beauty of the presenters, but to listen also and to get informed. And you defined broadcasting in a way that you actually became the pace setters for the region. Little wonder many of you ended up in international news organizations, and you brought a lot of fame and glory to our country. And I want to say what an honor it is for me to join you this morning. With my colleagues, I have quite a number of them who are helping in publicizing this forum and ensuring that we connect with the rest of the people who are streaming from other parts of the world. I am Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, the CEO of the Kenya Film Classification Board. And the Kenya Film Classification Board, just like the Media Council, is a state agency. Our role is to regulate the broadcast content in respect to examination and classification for age suitability. We are the people who put the age ratings, appropriateness in terms of whether this is suitable for this age and the other. So you'll see stuff like general exhibition, parental guidance, and so on and so forth. And we work very closely with the Media Council and the Communications Authority of Kenya to ensure that we bring sanity to journalism and that we give the dignity to this important profession. That is one of the most important professions. I think Kenya would not be enjoying the democratic space that we enjoy today if it were not for the freedom of the media that we, or the role the media has played. I think media is the cornerstone of democracy, and free and independent media is the lifeblood that drives or keeps the country going, ensures that you give voice to the voiceless, that you focus your cameras on the Wanjiku and highlight the plight of the oppressed and downtrodden and give voice and direction to the country. And I think those ethos and values that determine or define what journalism is, the voice of the voiceless, the values and tenets of accuracy, objectivity, and fairness that define journalism and that are in the Code of Ethics for the Practice of Journalism that is oversighted by the Media Council of Kenya. I think those are the things that we grew up seeing and listening to. The kind of rallying the country together, the command that you guys had, the veterans that gave journalism such great respect and honor. I think that's a great thing. And so we are here to say congratulations for not just sitting and lamenting and complaining about the lost glory of broadcasting. And I say that very carefully, lost glory, because the media has grown in diversity and pluralism has become a reality. But of course, there's a sense in which from the previous speakers, the water started beating us and we lost direction. And we moved from the journalism that you guys and the great names that are here and that we grew up hearing, the likes of Leonard Mambo Botella, the likes of Fred Obachi Machoka, who is here with us, the likes of Elizabeth Obege with very insightful educational pieces, the likes of Naklet Araba and Missy Temu. I remember, even as I was watching what is going on in Beirut and Lebanon, the way in the days of yore, Missy Temu and some of you are here would present news in a way that we would feel we were there. And even though there was no TV then, you painted images with words that made us believe and see things and see the globe, as it were, even though we didn't have the opportunities to travel. I later was able to travel to Israel. And remember, one of the places I wanted to visit was Ukanda wa Gaza, the Gaza Strip, that I used to hear from Amisi Temu with his baritone voice as he gave news. And then the other day my flight was diverted from Singapore, and I was told that I have to go through Colombo. And I remembered again the images painted by some of you broadcasters in your own way through radio. There was no TV then, but I remember the Tamil Tigers and Wanamgambo wa Jeshi la Tamil and the stuff like that. That made us feel we were connected and we could see images through the words that you painted. So we look at that history with nostalgia. And when I listened to what Fred Obacci said, when I listened to Abdul, when I listened to my sister Omar, when I listen to all of you, I can see the sense of nostalgia that comes with the lost glory. And therefore, there's a sense in which talking about finding that glory of broadcasting and getting back to the roots and beginning to look at what Abdullah said, and I salute you, sir, for that phrase, do you know where your children are? Do you know where your children are? Because I think that, in essence, is what defines the work that KFCB does. Because we rate and classify content for two major purposes. One is to ensure that, of course, film and broadcast content promotes Kenya's culture, national values, and aspirations, that gives hope, and that broadcast becomes not just depressing, but a reference point where people can find not just infotainment, but informative stories and inspiration. So we do this, we rate to ensure that content conforms to those values, to our culture. Kwa maana wanasema Waswahili kwamba mwacha mila ni mtumwa. And so we do this to ensure that our culture, our stories, like Tabitha said, are reflected in the kind of content that we watch, in the kind of content that we consume. And then secondly, that as we do this, we ensure that children are protected from exposure to harmful content, and that children can grow and we can inculcate values, the positive social values of hard work, discipline,
resilience, teamwork, respect for authority, and so on and so forth. And I think what Abdul was saying by the phrase, do you know where your children are? I think it is alluding to getting back to the basics, because the role of the media is to build society, is to build social, cultural, economic, and political dynamics of the society to grow. And I think you can't have a progressive society without the family, the institution of family. All of us are products of the family. And that's why it's so important for us to focus as a veteran journalist on that very important institution and ask ourselves every time we have the opportunity to talk about these things. And some of you are still in active media. Do we know where our children are? And as we do our work, as we broadcast, as we write stories, as we tell stories, do we reflect on that important segment of society that defines who we are and who we are going to be tomorrow? So that's what we do. And I come to you this morning just to say that we are willing to work with APB. We are willing to support you as an institution. And I want to give you my personal commitment as well, where we can, to work together to ensure that we bring glory, we bring back the glory of broadcasting, and that people can be able to sit, watch TV as a family, without having to feel embarrassed, like Freddie said, without having to feel, to see some images that where children are asking, "Mam, mbona wale wanakulana midomo," and you don't know what to do, because this is coming during the watershed period, and people have lost respect for the principles and tenets of journalism that respect the watershed period. Watershed period here in Kenya is the period between 5 in the morning to 10 in the evening, where the program and the content that is aired during that period is supposed to be suitable for family viewing, that you can sit together and watch TV with your family. And I always say, we don't buy TV to be traumatized and to be having to feel, I wish I could switch off, because something comes when I'm watching with people that I respect or with my children, and it's embarrassing. This is what I'm talking about. Where did the waters start beating us? And I think that's a question that I would want to throw to my brother David Omoyo and the Media Council of Kenya. How can we use the Association of Professional Broadcasters to retrace the roots and the tenets of broadcasting and give it the lost glory, so that when people hear it on radio, then they know it is true. When people see it on TV, then they know it is true. And that we can have a clear difference between the propaganda and the cutthroat competition of breaking news on social media with the mainstream media. That we don't have to play that kind of a game where, I want to be the first to break the news. We can leave that to the social media. And while breaking news is important, we can be the people that can be referred to as the authority, that we can take time to verify the facts. And by the time we go to town with a story, then we know it is true. And that we don't have to play to emotions, the way social media does, where the way the bloggers are doing it. I'm not saying they are not professional, but we can give the latitude of, some of this cutthroat competition in terms of breaking news to that element of the media. But when it comes to people like the mainstream media, we don't have to say, 10 things you didn't know about Ezekiel Mutua, and number 7 will shock you, only to go there and find you're only saying that Mutua is married with 2 children. And there is nothing new. That we can give content, we can bring informative journalism, as opposed to propaganda and hype and hoopla, like Mwalimu Joe Kadhi would call it. And so the challenge today is, what then do you stand for as Association of Professional Broadcasters? How do you impact the society, and how can we bring back that lost glory? You are veterans. You are our heroes. You are the unsung heroes of this country. You have impacted us in such a great way. But now journalism has been taken over. And I always say, when the history of broadcasting is written in this country, two main guys will stand out as having defined it. For better or worse, I'll leave it for you to judge. But I think the coach, WW Waruru Washira, and the Ghanaian media mogul, Patrick Kwaku, in a sense, have brought in the new culture of journalism. And I think it is important to have this open conversation to say this catwalking and the journalism of people walking from one screen to the other, vis-a-vis the journalism where we focus on content, we focus on the issues as opposed to the personalities. I think there's a sense in which there is need for moderation. Yes, we cannot stick to the old journalism. We may not live in the 20th century sort of approach to journalism, but I think we cannot lose our basics and our values in the name of making money or the profit in broadcasting. It is very important to know that journalism in its very nature is a calling. It was not meant for money. It was not just meant for hype. It was not meant for creating sensational stuff that has no value and does not build the character of our country, the dignity of our country, that does not tell our stories like Tabitha said. I think it's important to start looking at that transition from informative broadcasting to infotainment broadcasting and the culture of showbiz. That is what we are experiencing a lot of times today. And through the Media Council and the efforts and the collaboration between the regulatory agencies like KFCB and Communications Authority of Kenya, how can we work with you as veterans to try and get back that lost glory? Let me propose a few things that we are doing as KFCB as I conclude. One, we are hoping that we can work with the veterans to try and train the programming managers. And this is something that we want to do deliberately as part of our performance targets to ensure that we don't just rate at the tail end or get engaged with the media or broadcasters when the program is already on the air. But we can be able to engage with the programming managers and train them, because some of these young people are the products of what they found. The Wamlambe generation that doesn't really care about the values. They go with the hype and they go with the views and they go with the likes. And then if they have 1 million views, 1 million likes, that's what matters to them as opposed to the content. How can we impact them to know that they have a role to play in shaping the future of our country? And I think that's one area that we are going to involve you. And then secondly, we are working using the Nairobi Film Center, which used to be Nairobi Cinema, to see how we can work with you and create the Hall of Fame that is going to recognize our veteran broadcasters who have graced our screens and who have left an impact, and even those who are living, because heroes are not just the dead people. Heroes are people who are making an impact in society, and I believe you are some of them. And we are thinking, working with the Nairobi Metropolis to designate the area between Aga Khan Walk all the way to El Slasi as the Arts District of Nairobi. And we are hoping that working with you, we can find a way in which the glory of broadcasting and the values and the tenets that define who we are and what journalism in this country is, then is going to be recognized. We'll work with the Media Council to see how we can support your benevolent fund. And I want to commit that I'll give my personal support and that of my institution toward that. But I want to appeal to you not to lose hope or to feel like you are too old and you don't have the power, that the power has gone to the young people. I think when I look at people like Philip Ocheng, who have continued to write and to teach us, even language and grammar, and how we can write well, I think there is hope. Like someone has said, the likes of Christian Amanpour, the likes of Oprah Winfrey, they are older than most of us here. So we cannot say, we are out of the scene. We have left the scene for the young people. I think we can play our role differently. We may not play it in the active journalism,
but we can play differently as advisors. And through the recognition that the Media Council and KFCB have given you, I think you have a role to play in changing our narrative, in bringing back the glory of our stories, in focusing journalism on issues as opposed to hype and hoopla, in getting the glory of broadcasting back by ensuring that we tell the African story, the narratives of Africa, the beauty of our country, and that we do not take glory in exposing just the negative, but we can also focus on the positive issues of our society. I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for inviting Kenya Film Classification Board to this forum. We are going to work with you. And I want to say asanteni sana for your time and for listening to me.